Hi friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Rachel. How are we? Welcome to today's video. In today's vlog, I'm going to be reading 3 of my most anticipated reads of the year. I will say I have varying results in this vlog, so I think it's going to be a fun one. I'm also in the middle of moving. Apologies for this background, and apologies for just kind of the chaos that is this vlog. I'm a little bit all over the place and in the midst of moving and packing and unpacking, but I still did want to film a vlog for you guys for this week. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'm very curious to see what your thoughts are on what I thought of these books, and then also if you have read them, definitely let me know down in the comments what you thought of each of these books. I'm very excited to talk to y'all. So without further ado, let's get to the vlog portion of today's video. Hi friends, how are we doing? Welcome to the very first reading check-in of this week's vlog, and also welcome to the very first reading check-in in our new house. We are not fully moved in yet. We've basically just moved the majority of my books and then some like shoes and our suitcases and just a lot of things that we're putting in the garage, but it's very exciting to be here. I moved over a bunch of my books today and I figured I would just film a reading check-in while I do so. I don't know if I could have picked a more boring background, so sorry about that. I was gonna film this upstairs, but it is so echoey because we literally do not have any like big furniture or rugs in the house yet. But hi, hello, how are we? I am here to talk to you all about the very first book that I am reading for this vlog. I don't know if this is gonna be like a new releases vlog yet or just a regular reading vlog, but the first book that I decided to pick up is a brand new release, and that is Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco. And I am actually 50% of the way done with this book. The reason why I have not checked in with you all since starting this, because usually I do like to check in a little bit before the 50% mark, is because I keep waiting for myself to like the book more. So that can kind of tell you how it's going. I'm at the 50% mark and I think it's just time for me to like share my thoughts on this. I am not really liking this, you guys, and I'm really sad. When it first started out, I was intrigued. I was excited. Within the first like 50 or 100 pages, I was like, okay, like, you know, I'm not super hyped about it, but I'm curious and I'm, you know, willing to just let the story go where it's gonna go, and I'm gonna follow, and we're just gonna ride this ride together. But I am just disappointed by this, to be honest with you. I think my biggest issue right now, I do still have, you know, 50% of the book more left, so absolutely gonna keep an open mind for the rest of it. But I think that kind of my biggest complaint at the moment is this is an adult fantasy romance, and Kerri Maniscalco has only written YA before, and this is her adult debut. But because it is, you know, an adult fantasy romance, I am definitely going to be a little bit more critical, or just really looking for those signs of this being an adult book versus a YA, and not just in the romance aspect, because so far from reading this book, the adult parts are the spicy scenes and, you know, there's some foul language used, but the fantasy, plotting, world building, those type of developments still feel very YA. And that is just very disappointing to me, because I was really looking forward to, you know, not only a bit more of a grown-up relationship from Kerri Maniscalco. I knew that she was gonna deliver on the spice. I knew that she was gonna give us a more adult relationship, but this is an adult fantasy, underline, bold, italicized romance book. And so I want the fantasy elements of the book to feel a little bit more grown up as well. I just want a little bit more mature world building, a little bit more mature fantasy plot developments. And I truly feel like this just feels exactly like her other books, but spicier. And so I am a little bit disappointed by that. And I think because I read Kingdom of the Wicked and Kingdom of the Curse, and those were very like average to mildly disappointing reads for me, I pretty much feel the same about this book. And I think that I'm just feeling a little bit more critical of it because I was really excited about the adult aspect. I was really excited to see her do something a little bit different with this book and potential series, and I just don't really feel like it's that much different at this point. I will also say that I think the focus on the romance and the spice is pretty intense, which is fine. You know, it's a totally subjective thing how each reader feels about that, but something that I have just found disappointing about the relationship development thus far is right after our 2 main characters meet, there are very intense, spicy feelings, like immediately. That's just very strong. And for me, I'm just more of a slow burn gal, you know. Obviously we're gonna have a little bit of attraction in the beginning. Every Enemies to Lovers fan row, there is kind of that noticed attraction type of thing that happens in the beginning, but they push it off because they have all these reasons to dislike one another. They are like super into each other, like internally. And so when we're in each of their POVs, I just feel like there's not a lot to work towards with developing that romance when we know how strongly they feel in the beginning. So I was a little bit disappointed by that. I mean, sure, they have conflict. They definitely have conflict and things going on, but it just doesn't feel like the conflict is well developed enough in comparison to how much they're thinking about how much they want to jump each other's bones. So that is a little bit disappointing as well. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna feel when I finish this book. There are like pieces of this book that I'm really curious about. You know, we learn about these Fey lands, we learn about this Unseelie king. Our main character, Camilla, definitely has some secrets, you know, possibly with her lineage that I am intrigued by. I hate starting a vlog and not really loving the first book that I'm reading, but that is where we are at. And by the way, I haven't even said what this is about, if you don't know. So it is an adult fantasy romance. It is set, I believe, kind of in the same world, same universe as the Kingdom of the Wicked series. Our main character's name is Camilla. She is an artist. It feels like it takes place in like a Regency London-esque type of setting, but essentially our main character, she enters into a deal with Prince Envy, who is the brother of Prince Wrath, who is the love interest in the Kingdom of the Wicked series. And Prince Envy's kingdom has a curse on it, and Camilla, unbeknownst to her, is going to be very integral in potentially banishing that curse. And then Camilla has secrets, and she has this like really gross guy like blackmailing her, and the two of them just realize that they can help each other in different ways in their lives. So they kind of enter into this reluctant allyship, have this kind of mutually beneficial relationship, and you know, things kind of take off from there. But I don't know, I just want more. That's the thing, is I think there's really great pieces here, but I want so much more from it, and it's just not really working for me. The formula of this book is not quite working for me at the moment. I'm gonna actually try to just knock this book out today. I think I'm listening to the audiobook. The audiobook is fantastic though, by the way, I will say. The narration is really great. We have a female narrator and a male narrator for our two characters, and then there are some kind of like cinematic elements, I guess you could say, with some of the voices, and there's these kind of like scary sounds. I love the audiobook, like just for what it is and for what they're doing. I think it's a really, really well done, and you can tell a ton of care and time went into this audiobook. So it's very well done, but just not crazy about the contents of this book thus far. But that's where I'm at. I am going to read the rest of the book. I will see what happens. You know, maybe we can have some interesting things go on in the second half that could get me a little bit more excited about this book. But as of right now, I'm just feeling very average about it. So those are my first thoughts on Throne of the Fallen. And then I do have some book mail that I want to open with you all. So this is another new release, and it is, oh, so beautiful. Okay, so this is Caught Up by Liz Tomford. This is the third book in the Windy City series. I have not read the second book, which is The Right Move. I want to pick that up soon. I've just been thinking about picking that up as well. This is the third installment, and I know it's a baseball romance, and I believe we have a single parent in this book, and I found that that is a trope that I really enjoy in romance novels. I think when it's well done, it's a really fantastic trope. So I'm excited for this, and I just love Liz Tomford's book covers. This and The Right Move are just so gorgeous. And I did read Mile High, which is the first book, and I gave that 4 stars, so I liked that. So definitely want to pick this one up soon. But yeah, that is gonna be it for me for now. I am going to continue packing. I'm gonna be moving some stuff from our apartment to here, and just gonna keep listening to the Throne of the Fallen audiobook. So I will talk to you guys once I am further into that book. Hello besties, how are we doing? Today is Sunday. It's been a couple days since we last talked because I have been just busy packing, obviously, moving things from the apartment to our house and all of that. So it's been a crazy time, but I have still been able to read. I've been listening to audiobooks while I'm packing and stuff like that. So I have been making progress on the books that I want to read for this vlog, which is great, but it's just been a minute since we chatted. So hello, how are you? I did finish a book yesterday. I finished the first book for this vlog yesterday morning, and that is Throne of the Fallen by Kerri Maniscalco. And I have some not great thoughts for you all. I didn't really end up liking this book, which, you know, the last time I talked to you guys, I was at the 50% mark and I wasn't loving it. So I kind of had a feeling it was gonna go that way, but I still did go into the latter half of this book optimistic and excited to see how we were going to wrap things up. You know, this is a very long book, and to have still 50% more of the book to read, there could have been a lot of things done that I think would have changed my mind about how I felt about the first half of the book. But unfortunately, it mostly just kind of solidified my thoughts. So I just want to talk about a few things that I did not love about this book that are just, you know, personal to me. I know a lot of people are loving this book and I really wanted to be one of those people, but I just didn't really get there with this book. And a lot of it is kind of what I talked about in the last check-in. I just wanted a little bit more from the plotting, from the storytelling. I guess I just expected a little bit more adult. This just still kind of feels like YA to me in that department. It just reminds me a lot of the Kingdom of the Wicked series, which is like, it's set in the same world, so that totally makes sense, and it is the same author, but I was just kind of excited to see a little bit more of a mature story, not just like mature sexually, which we'll get there in a second, but I just kind of wanted a little bit more. I think I was just a little bit disappointed, and I think that is why I'm being a little bit more critical than I would be if this was just like a YA book. I would not be this critical, but I think when you go from a YA book to, okay, now you're writing an adult novel, like there are multiple elements that need to be there that make it adult, in my opinion. And I was just a little bit disappointed by that. I feel like especially there were some conflicts towards the end of the book that, you know, obviously get wrapped up. And the way that they were wrapped up was just like convenient and kind of just like, why did we even have these conflicts if they're gonna get wrapped up so cleanly? And I just didn't really love the way that the storytelling was done. I think it didn't really work for me. I wanted more. I wanted deeper, more layered plots, more layered character interactions. I think there's a lot of good stuff in this book. There's a lot of good pieces of this book that intrigued me, definitely. In the very, very beginning, I was like, okay, like I'm excited about this, but I just don't think that we got enough. I wanted more, and I think that I was just kind of left unsatisfied on that side of things. And then kind of my main thing with this book was the romance. I just straight up didn't like the romance. And the reason for that is it is just a very lust-forward romance. Our two characters, Camilla and Prince Envy, I don't feel like there was a ton of relationship development with them. Immediately upon meeting each other, they are very attracted to each other, which is great. That's fine. That's, you know, par for the course with a fantasy romance usually. But all of their interactions, all of their, when we're in their heads and they're thinking about each other, it's mostly just how attracted they are to each other and how much they want to, you know, spend time together, so to speak. And just for me, you know, one of the really cool things about reading, I'm going off on a tangent, but promise I'll loop myself back around here. One of the great things about reading, and particularly when you are reading within your genre, when you are reading within your favorite genre, and fantasy romance is my favorite genre, the more you do it, the more that you develop your taste and your preferences, and the more that you recognize little things that you enjoy and little things that you don't enjoy, and certain tropes or certain writing styles or certain ways that a romance is written, you really define your taste and what you like and what you don't like. And so I have, particularly over the last year especially, really just come to the conclusion that I do not care about spice and I will not be invested, and I'm gonna speed read or just skip the spicy scenes if there is not good romance and character development between the characters that I'm reading about. I love spice. Spice is fantastic, okay? I am pro spice on this channel, but I don't care, I can't care if there is not that tension, that banter, that character development, these two characters getting to know one another, there being some type of other development besides, oh my god, there's all the sexual tension and then they have sex at some point in the book, you know? Like, I need more. I have to have more. And obviously, like, if I'm reading a spicy, like, novella, I know what I'm getting into in that situation, you know, of course. But for me personally, in a fantasy romance, I don't care about these characters. I don't care about their romance and their relationship because it's just so lust-filled. And I just really, really wish that we got to know the characters more. I really wish that the characters got to know each other more. And I just feel like it was a very spice-forward story. And that's just not my thing. And that's totally personal. Spice and like level of spice and when it happens in the book and all of that is so, so subjective. And this is just me. And there's gonna be people who read this and absolutely love the way that the romance and the spice was done. And that is fantastic. I just don't feel like that part of the romance was earned because seriously, whenever we were in Prince Envy's head, he's just thinking about her in those sexy ways. And, you know, kind of same with Camilla. And I just really wanted more from them. I wanted a true like romance development and I just don't feel like we got it. I feel like it was very, very full on sexy times throughout the entire book. And I just did not think that it was a well-developed romance. And because of that, I just like, I don't care about the characters. I don't care. It's an almost 600-page book. Like, if it was like 300 pages or something, I probably would be a little bit less critical, but like this is a long book to have like a average, mildly disappointing plotline, and then just a poorly developed romance. Because of that, I gave this book 2 stars. I don't hate this book. I don't think it's terrible or anything like that. I really wanted to try again with Carrie Maniscalco's writing, and I was excited about her writing an adult book, this kind of more mature story. I knew it was gonna be like spicy. I knew that that was the direction that this book was gonna go, but I really, really wanted more from these characters. I wanted to know them more. I wanted them to know each other more. That's what gets me excited about a romance, you know? That's what gets me excited about the spice. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait for those scenes because there's so much tension and banter between them, and they're really cute, and I like seeing them interacting and getting to know one another, and just having those like sweet little moments throughout a developing romance are really important to me personally. So that is why I just did not really enjoy this book. So very long-winded, all to say, 2 stars. Very disappointing. What a way to start out the vlog. I'm so sad too because this is one of the most beautiful books that I own, like for sure. And I just, yeah, I just didn't really end up liking it, you guys. And after I finished Throne of the Fallen, I was like, okay, I need a palate cleanser. I need to feel something again. I need to feel joy. So I ended up starting Hopeless by Elsie Silver, which is the final book in the Chestnut Springs series. This is a contemporary romance series. It's interconnected standalones. This series kind of centers around this family and some of their friends, the Eaton family, and they live in this small town in like the Canadian Rockies, and there's this ranch that a lot of them work at and live at, and that's kind of the general setting for the series as a whole. But in this book we are following Bo Eaton. He is one of the brothers in the Eaton family, and he has always kind of been hinted at throughout the series, and we've always kind of been getting little bits and pieces of what his story is going to be. And then his love interest is Bailey, and Bailey Jensen is a girl who has also lived in this town forever. Her and her family have like a very bad reputation. Her brothers are involved with like drugs and crime and all these things, but Bailey really does try to distance herself from her family and all of those kind of things that they get into. But just because, you know, small towns, they talk. She unfortunately has a bad reputation and is treated very poorly by a lot of the people in the town. Bo and Bailey end up deciding to get in this mutually beneficial fake engagement situation because this will help Bailey's reputation. She can get a different job because she really wants to leave the town, and she's not really able to get hired anywhere because people just have really bad opinions about her and her family. And because Bo and his family are like the golden family in this town, it will help her out. Bo's in the military, and he recently was missing in action and went through a very traumatic event when he was serving overseas, and he is back, and everyone's kind of treating him weird and speaking to him inappropriately about what he's been through, and he's going through PTSD, and he thinks, I'm going to get into a relationship with Bailey because this will get my family off my back, people will leave me alone, and I'll just look like I'm on the straight and narrow. But he is really struggling, Bailey is struggling with her own stuff, and the two of them are not only going to help each other's kind of reputations and just dealing with the outside world, but are also helping each other internally and mentally, and it's really sweet so far. And I'm just having the best time. I'm 44% of the way through. It's going fantastic. I love it. I love these characters. I love this world. I love Elsie Silver's writing. I'm here for everything. It's really fun. Bailey is a fun character. She's quirky for sure. She kind of just like says whatever is on her mind, but I think Bo takes it in stride, and they have a very cute dynamic. So I'm really excited. I'm sad that this series is ending. I just love this series so, so much, but it's going really well. So yeah, 44% of the way through. It's been a lot of fun so far. I do want to try to finish that book today. I'm gonna start packing up our kitchen. I'm just gonna start like putting everything into boxes. That's what packing is. You don't need to explain what packing is, Rachel. But yeah, I'm gonna listen to the rest of the Hopeless audiobook. I'm gonna pack up my kitchen. We're gonna move stuff today. Busy times, busy, busy times. I cannot wait to be like moved in because then I can just like chill and just do normal vlogging. I feel like I'm like packing, doing all this stuff, reading a little bit, and then talking to you all. So it's just a bit chaotic. So apologies if this vlog is all over the place. We are moving in this week though, which I'm really excited. So we are moving our bed and we are moving our cat at the end of this week. And those are the two things that you know means like, okay, we're moving into the house at that point. Like we are going to be in there permanently. And I'm so excited to have that and just be done with this whole crazy, crazy process. I also think after Hopeless, I'm going to read The Hurricane Wars by Thea Kwanzan. That is a YA fantasy romance. I'm very excited about that. I've heard good things and it's just been on my mind. That book has been like staring at me a little bit. Oh, also I showed in the B-roll, my books are all at the new house. My bookshelves are empty. It is so like weird to look at, and just seeing these empty bookshelves, it's just saddening, honestly. So I just have like a few books here at the house, and then the majority of my books have been moved. So I just have a couple books here, and The Hurricane Wars is one of them, and that just came out. So I think that'll be a good new release for me to talk about with you all. And yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of all over the place. What am I even talking about? Also, I got 2 new bookshelves, which is cool. I'm all over the place and rambling at this point, but I'm just trying to hit all the bullet points. Throne of the Fallen, 2 stars, in the middle of Hopeless, having a great time. Gonna be moving today. Bookshelves are empty. Ordered new bookshelves. Gonna read the Hurricane Wars after this. Love you guys so much. Okay, I'm just gonna cut myself off now and I'll talk to you guys later. Hello, Angel Besties. How are we doing? Happy Friday. I am coming to you from our new house. We are officially moved in. Yesterday we did like our big move with our bed and our couch, our TV, all of the big heavy furniture. We did all that yesterday. So we're here. We are officially moved in, which is very, very exciting. We have not like done a lot of unpacking. That's a whole other beast that I'm just, you know, mentally preparing myself for, but I'm really excited. Ivy is here too, which as I said before, that means that we are officially in once she joins the party. She is understandably like so freaked out right now. When she first got here yesterday, she hid for like 3 hours, which was expected. She always does that whenever we move. She's a nervous girly. Okay, and I just like give her time to adjust and all of that, but it's still just like, it makes me sad and I just feel so much for her and I just want her to be happy and calm. But I will say, even though she hid for several hours last night, at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I was woken up by this heavy pressure on my chest and this weird feeling on my hand, and she was laying on me and licking my hand. And I was like, oh, hey girly, nice to see you. So she's adjusting. She is like cautiously exploring at this point, but it'll just take a few days for her to adjust, which is normal. So the next several days are just going to look like unpacking basically. We do need to buy like some decor stuff. We do need to get stuff up on the walls. This is our living room and there's literally nothing on the walls. You can see our lamp there though, and our couch is all set up, which is awesome. And we have our TV, which is great. We still need to get that set up though. But yeah, we are slowly but surely doing it, team. But I did want to let you guys know about reading updates. So let me find a good place to set you guys down. It's like very bright right here, but we'll just do this very quickly. I finished Hopeless, which was really, really fun. Such a good read. I gave it 4 stars. It wasn't quite a 5-star. I still have like my favorites of the Chestnut Springs series, which are Heartless and Powerless, but I still thoroughly enjoyed Hopeless and I thought it was a pretty good finale. I really liked Beau and Bailey's dynamic. They were fun and I loved seeing Beau's story finally get that closure because we have just heard so much about him in all of the other books. It was very gratifying to see him happy. I do like the way that Elsie Silver ended their like story arc and where they ended up. I thought that was cool. I thought it was a little bit unexpected, but I enjoyed it. So I only have like 2 complaints about this book. And complaints feel strong, so I don't even want to say that, but just 2 items of note, I will say. But number 1, just a personal preference, I do feel like Beau and Bailey had mega crushes on each other, like basically straight from the beginning. I personally just would have preferred if it was a little bit more getting to know each other, not quite trusting one another, but still reluctantly agreeing to be in this like fake engagement. I just think I would have enjoyed that more. That's just kind of my personal preference. The story almost feels like watching people become friends and then like the friends to lovers trope. So that's kind of just something I noticed that I'm like, oh, I kind of wish that it would be a little bit harder for them to get comfortable with one another. They were very comfortable with one another very early on. And I do think that that had a purpose because these 2 people have had such a hard time trusting others and have gone through a lot that have brought them to having those trust issues. So it's sweet that they found each other and connected, you know, kind of instantly, but that's just kind of a personal preference. Okay, and then another thing of note that I just wanted to touch on, and this is like me just being a nostalgic girly, me just being dramatic, me just being emotional. This is the finale of the Chestnut Springs series, and while we do end the book with, you know, a big scene with everyone, it is not very long, and I would have liked just a little bit more emphasis on this being the end of the series. I would have liked a little bit more of all of the couples being together, maybe for like a few chapters or just like a longer chapter. I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I was left slightly like, oh, that's it? Like, you know, no big, I don't know. I love the finales of series. Even if it's like, you know, a TV series or a book series, I like when we do a big emotional, everyone hug it out type of ending. And I feel like this book ended pretty much similarly to how a lot of the other books in the Chestnut Springs series ended. We did have like classic family time, Harvey saying something inappropriate, you know, usual things happened. But I kind of wish that it was a bigger deal that the series ended. And that's just me being like, wait guys, this is it. Like, I don't want the series to end and you all seem so fine. And also this series it is over, but there's going to be a new series starting that does have a connection to the Chestnut Springs series. So I think maybe because we will probably be seeing some of these characters in future books by this author, maybe she was like, no, like we're not gonna make it that emotional because you'll see them again. But yeah, that was me. I just wanted a bigger and more emotional ending, essentially. But those are my thoughts on Hopeless. Really great though, really strong 4-star. I think if I had to rate the Chestnut Springs books, it would go Heartless, number 1, Forever and Always. That book changed me. Number 2 is Powerless. I love Jasper so much. Number 3 is going to be Reckless, which I did not see coming. I cannot believe that the pregnancy surprise baby trope worked so well for me, but Elsie Silver can do no wrong in my eyes. And then Hopeless is 4th. Reckless and Hopeless could switch depending on the day, depending on my mood, but I think that it's Reckless 3rd and then Hopeless 4th. And then the bottom ranked book is going to be Flawless, the first book. I couldn't even remember the name. I liked it. I just think that the series, as it went on, it progressed better. And for some reason, Rhett, I don't dislike him, but I'm just not like crazy about him. I do like Summer. I think that she's kind of like the glue of the family, honestly. I feel like she plays such an important role in a lot of the books and relationships. But yeah, their relationship and their romance was just like, okay for me. But yeah, so that is it on Hopeless. It was really good. And so now I am going to be starting the final book for this vlog, which is the Hurricane Wars, which I am really excited about. I have started it, but I'm literally like 50 pages in. I'm listening to it on audio, and I think I'm gonna go start like unpacking the kitchen and listen to this audiobook. So I'm gonna do that for a few hours. I'm gonna go try to make sense of our kitchen, and I'm gonna listen to the Hurricane Wars audiobook, and I will talk to you guys later. Hey friends, so it is a few hours later. I am in my book room right now, which is pretty much in disarray. All of my books are over here, and then there's some back there as well you can't really see. Obviously, my bookshelf has not been put together. It is missing shelves. I am going to be working on that over the next week, and I will take you guys along for that. So more to come on my bookshelves. I will soon have a very pretty background, but I wanted to talk to you all. I got to about page 200 of the Hurricane Wars, so not quite 50%, but this book is 460 pages, I believe. So, you know, I got pretty far into the book, and I hate to say it, but I am DNFing the Hurricane Wars. I hate DNFing, and I know, I feel like I talk about this every time. I go into this like cycle with myself. DNFing is good and you should do it because like, why force yourself to read something? But at the same time feeling so guilty when I DNF a book, and I don't know why, but I cannot like push myself to get through this book because I was really not enjoying myself. When I first started out in this book, I was like, okay, this is an interesting magic system. I think that the setting is really cool, and I was kind of excited to see what the conflict was going to be between Taliesin, our main character, and then Alaric, the enemy slash love interest, the other main character, and kind of coming from different worlds and what their dynamic was going to be. I was intrigued enough early on in the book, but I will just say that as it has gone on, I am 200 pages into this book, and I feel like I don't know these characters. I feel like I don't feel invested in the story. There is like a ton of world building in the beginning of the book that was a little bit confusing. I was like, have I read a fantasy novel? I don't know, because I was having a hard time digesting it, but then I was like, okay, I'm into this, I'm in this, I'm excited to see where things go. And there were some scenes here and there that I think had promise, but overall, I'm just at a point of like, I'm so not invested into this book, and I know like I can just feel myself. I'm gonna give this book like a 2 or 3 star, and I don't want to do that. I was really just not entertained. I was not gripped by these characters, this dynamic. Also, apparently this book is a Reylo fanfiction that was put through the process of being traditionally published, and I don't know anything about Reylo. I've never seen Star Wars. I don't know who Reylo is. I know that that book by Ali Hazelwood, The Love Hypothesis, was also a Reylo fanfic. Yeah, so I don't know that dynamic. I'm gonna assume it's enemies to lovers, but because I'm not familiar with that, I do almost wonder if that is impacting my ability to connect to the characters, because sometimes when a book is fan fiction, or when it's like inspired by a fan fiction, or you know, then kind of transformed to be traditionally published, we don't get that character background, because in fan fiction you have these established characters. We don't need character background. And as somebody who does not know anything about Reylo, maybe that's where the disconnect is happening. I don't know. I'm just trying to find things that make sense for why this is not working for me. The writing itself is like digestible, the prose itself is digestible, but I'm not enjoying reading the book. I don't find the story to be engaging enough. I'm kind of bored, and so I'm gonna DNF. So I'm really sorry. This vlog, oh my god, 3 new releases. I will say Hopeless was the hit, but as a fanro girly, it breaks my heart that I read 2 new fantasy romances in this vlog, and one was 2 stars and probably gonna be one of my worst books of the year. And the other I had to DNF because I saw the writing on the wall. I saw that like, okay, I'm just not gonna like this, and I'm really trying to not force myself to read things that I'm not like super excited about. What a doozy this vlog was. I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. Apologies, we'll get them in the next one, team. But I really appreciate that you guys watched this video. It's been a little bit chaotic with moving and everything too, so this vlog might be a little quirky, but thank you guys so much for watching it. If you have made it to this point in the video and you wanted to let me know, go ahead and leave any type of weather emoji that is like rain or storm clouds or thunder or lightning, something hurricane-esque for the Hurricane Wars. Please make sure that you're following me on Instagram and Goodreads. Both are always linked down below. I really appreciate that you watched this video. I hope that you are all having a fantastic day. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you all in the next one.